Hello everyone, happy midweek or whatever time of the week it is when you're watching this. I think today we are going to go into the boathouse again and maybe do another clean prepare area. There's another section that I'd like to reveal and to clean, and we can talk about what things we'd like to do there. Maybe even try out some of our paint samples we talked about on Monday. And then I want to share, I changed some things in the wallpaper design. I want to show that to you, and we'll see how that goes. So let's get started with today's video. I had intended to take you on a walk in our wood today, but we are having intermittent rain. So instead, I thought we still have a bit of mist. It's lifted somewhat, but I thought I would just take you for a quick walk to the boathouse this way. But first, let's stop and take a look at how lovely the pattern of the waves on the spitting rock are currently. Over there is the flat rock that I love to swim around at higher tide, but at low tide it's completely exposed. But this tide right here, it just splashes across the top. In another maybe hour and a half, the very top will be exposed and the gulls will return, and that's their favorite place to drop their shells. So they can eat mussels and oysters for their breakfast. So as we swoop around, we have our beach down below, and then the lawn is above by the stairs, but here midway is our pathway to the boathouse. And this was quite overgrown, and it often gets overgrown, but at the beginning of this year it was really overgrown, and we had to hack at it and take back my nemesis bittersweet. And then once we started mowing it, the natural grass comes through, and it's a great little pathway. Years ago it had been actually put in on purpose because below it is a large area of boulders I showed in a previous video that were put in years and years ago. But Hurricane Bob in the 80s sort of tumbled them a bit, but it's still a viable path. So we'll look at our path, and here we go. So as we walk along here, as I said, the upper lawn is up there and the shore is down there. And again, if we turn to the side, we can see another lovely boulder and one of the last of the summer boats are still in the water. All the sailboats have been brought in, and the other power boats have been put in their boathouses as people shutter up their homes and move on to their winter residences. But poor church mice that we are, we haven't any winter residences, so we stay here year-round. Our winter residences were sold generations ago. A shot of my nemesis in gold wrapping away around the oak tree with the boat in the distance. And onward we march. I hope you could hear that that's actually my quail, my domesticated quail that I raised, making that beautiful little twill sound. Let's zoom in on how lovely these berries are from the Boston ivy that Bunny put in years ago has trailed about a bit. Look at the beautiful blueberries. Not Boston ivy, I'm sorry. Now I can't recall the name of that. Virginia creeper. And you can really hear the waves starting up on the flat rock I mentioned. And around we come, and onward towards the boathouse. If we stop here, you can peek up on the upper lawn. That bit of the building, that's the part of the boathouse that we are currently working on. So the ground floor of that is going to be our little tiny house, reno. But of course, it's in a much larger building, and above it is another floor that could be connected to it and made into a cottage. We used to use it when we used the house back years ago. And then along the top are the old sail lofts, and then down below is where the boats are brought in. as we continue along. Oh, let's stop here and see. Look at the beautiful, the lovely dew on the spider's web. Isn't that lovely? It's a quiet, still morning, per usual, though I think the rains are going to begin again. Oh, I hear the fishermen sound like they're down on the neighbor's dock. And then as we come along here, which these are really overgrown as well, but I'd love to train these more to be a fun little archway whenever we do this lower part of the boathouse over, but that's many, many numbers down the shore list. And here are the old rusting railroad tracks and the old machine that used to pull the sailboats up into the boathouse. And this is the actual lower part of the boathouse, which is why it is called a boathouse, because it held boats. And as you go up and up, you can see it's actually tall enough to make just about 3 stories out of it. But when we came here, we had to just get inexpensive wood to close in the outside to keep the weather out. But one day it'll be lovely, one day. And for now we come around, and this is another fun little path down to the beach. In fact, I used to have this planted up, and we used this as a path back in the early to mid 2000s when we used to use the boathouse as our little getaway when we lived in the city. But that was a long time ago. So as we move around, there's the woods and there's ladders, and then these are the trees that need to be hedged up so that when we're in the boathouse, as I showed you, we will have a better view of the sea. Of course, you can't see the sea very well now because the fog is set in. Oh, do let me see if I can get this. There's a beautiful spider's web in this evergreen. I want to see if I can capture it. I hope the camera is capturing it. It's so brilliant with the light behind. It's like little pearls strung on it. And then, if we continue on this way with the sea behind, all along the length of this building, which needs so much work, you'll see these funny windows here in the corner. And this window, this is the other bit of the boathouse, and you can see the little chairs and the table we set up the other day. So if we sit here and look this way, once we hedge our trees down, we'll see the sea again as we used to. And behind that set of windows sits dear old Bessie. And then over there is a pile of stones from digging out to replace our well's old copper pipes. And that little, it doesn't look like much, but that double bit of wood there is a composter I built this early summer before I was vlogging. I wish I had been vlogging so I could record it. I was actually rather proud of it. I built it from fence staves that I bought at a big box store so that I can slide them in and out to make it the height I want it to be. So this isn't the walk in the woods I want to give you. I want to walk you through our wood and then over to a little harbor, which is just to the left of us, as it's a lovely view. But the rain has come, which I'm not complaining. We need the rain so much. And I could take you back through the beach, back up the pathway, but maybe I'll save that for another day. For now, let's close this walk with how beautiful these, my creaking old knees, how beautiful the dew is on these staves of grass. Even in the overgrown, unkempt mess of which I have to have all of our property because I'm only one person, there's still much beauty to be seen. Oh, and I wonder if I can zoom in on that bit of thistle. Well, I hope you enjoyed this morning's walk. Wasn't where I had intended to go, but still a lovely little stroll nonetheless. All right, let's get on with today's video. All right, for today's boathouse clean, I figured we'd start with the camera zoomed in on our last bit that we cleaned. And of course, we have our lovely little samples and our little furniture hanging up to remind us of our color choices and to hopefully continue inspiring us. Now, for the dramatic part of spinning about. So we're standing this way, And then if we spin around, and actually here you'll see the sea is out there, though it's foggy today. So this is the area we're going to be dealing with, which is directly opposite of the area we cleaned last time. Now again, I could have tidied up before, but I want to show how much this boathouse has been my catch-all sort of garbage. Not really garbage, but you know, I was working on a project. I was building a new run for the chickens, so things get set down. And many things, like our old books and things, have just been set here for years. Old pictures and statues. That's an old painting, an old oil of mine from, geez, years and years ago. And of course, a boathouse slash garden room slash chicken keeping spot wouldn't be such a place without some little animals stuck everywhere, which I'm obsessed with animals. And of course, badminton shuttlecocks, because I'm a dab hand at badminton actually. And just an assortment. Now a lot of these things, the statues and the fun little treasures with the little boxes with seashells on. Oh, there's a rock in there that's somehow important. And of course, an old bar set up from years ago. The seltzer bottle, completely dry, empty decanters at this point, and a funny, this is a very funny little table. But again, this is the way it is. There's some old screen I was using, and I set it in here because this was where I was working, and I set it down, and here's some of my tools on the floor. But now we want to convert this back to a nice little living cottage, so we have to get started. And this made me laugh. This is so me. So in this bag is the dichotomy of my life. Here's an old bit of a sealing stamp for sealing letters with sealing wax, because I used to write so many more letters, and I would of course seal them with sealing wax as you would. Next to scan discs for digital work and camera work, etc. The dichotomy of my life, the old and the new. So, you know, we have a fun collection of things. This is an old relative, a painted old relative, statues. This is just a little bit of an old Hieronymus Bosch I framed. I think it was just an inexpensive print. I took it to university with me. I don't want to say how long ago that was. Another treasured whale bone. I have some other treasured bones up here. Oh, this is one of my favorite. I got this at an auction. This is an old whale bone as well. So, today's cleaning is showing the wretchedness of the space at present, but just think how amazed we'll be when it is finally turned into something lovely. So today I'm going to clean, and you know what, this is such a mess. I'm not even sure how much I'm going to clean. I think I'll leave the books for now because I would like to paint here. So let's just tidy up and then have a little talk about it. All right, time for a time lapse, or use the bewitched magic and wiggle our nose and go as fast as we can. Well, that was a nice fast clean with the help of magic. But here we see, I basically just did a pretty quick clean, and I sorted out some of my things and put them away. But a lot of other things, decorative things, are still left here because this is an area that I think I want to do a pretty big change to. And so I thought I would just talk about that quickly. I don't hurt my arm. So this wall, like these old lines, don't go to anything anymore. And this is just pieces of wood screwed to old bookshelves that I actually did this years ago, back when we used to come here and stay in this as our apartment. We just kind of slapped things together because we weren't here all the time. But what I was thinking is these are good quality wood bookshelves, and these pieces of wood, they might be a nice thing to start doing our painting with. So my hope is, or what I would really like to do, I stopped doing that. What I would really like to do is, since I'm having propane installed for the vintage stove for Bessie, I've actually been looking to get a really darling propane fireplace that is a heater, but it has ceramic logs that look fairly real, and the real flame comes through, and it's actually a heater as well, but you don't have to load it with wood and everything. And this is just our little fun playhouse. So I really was thinking centering that here and having this plumbed for the propane and heat as well. And then we could build out a chimney piece here, and we could use the 2 wooden bookshelves and kind of make it all into one little unit. And then we can try out our colors on the bookshelves and see how the walls look with the different paint colors I've chosen and things like that. So I think for today, as I still have some more artwork to get to today, I think this is a pretty good amount of things done for this vlog. And again, we have done one more section of the boathouse. Again, this is just a tiny little bit of the space, and I still haven't shown you what's behind the wall that we cleaned the other day, or the horrible little bathroom, and even the tiny little kitchen that we need to do for Bessie. That still has to be addressed, but I really wanted to kind of address this wall today and talk about the fact that I kind of think it would be fun to do a sort of, well, it wouldn't be a faux fireplace, it would be a working propane heating fireplace. We could really make it lovely. I'm torn between finding a vintage fireplace mantle, which if I can get out to antique shops, if there are any that are still open, or just building it out ourselves and using some decorative things I have around for like molding and such. And yeah, I think that would be really, really fun to do that. So I think that'll be another part of this boathouse project. So I hope you enjoyed my little bit of magic clean there. So let's get on, and I want to show you the few things, the few options I'm coming up with for our wallpaper, because I kind of want to make a decision on that so I can get it sent out, because it takes a few weeks for it to be printed. And I'll also want to have fabric printed as well, because we'll want to do curtains and things like that. All right, well, I guess I started this little montage with magic, so I might as well end it with magic. On to the next part of our video. So I wanted to show the progress of the wallpaper, and as you will recall, last time I shared this sketch, which this was just like the next layer where I started sketching in one of the bunnies, and I was just working with hydrangeas, but then I started to think that I really wanted to add seashells. So see, you can hear I'm still working with the same section of the wallpaper, and I've added 2 clusters of seashells in groups of 3, and then I'm thinking I may still keep the hydrangea as well. And then I toyed with some different color variations. So here I have a sagey green ground with blues and pinks, and then I also thought I would try a more bluish background with the same colors of pinks and blues on the vines. And then of course I wanted to see possibly maybe a stronger green in the background, see how that would look, which I really kind of like. I mean, I love green and pink and blues together, so I kind of like this colorway as well. And then in the very last bit, I added a tiny bit. I mess with the colors of the rabbits and the leaves a bit, just to kind of get a feeling for that. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. It was fun to clean. Again, I wish those time lapses could happen in real life. A funny commenter had commented, wouldn't it be great to do a bewitched and wiggle our nose and get it cleaned quickly? That would be great. However, it's fun to make the time lapses anyway. And I think it was fun, and I hope you like the new option I gave for the wallpaper. I do like hydrangeas because that is something important for me here as well, but I think the seashells might be important, and I also think the seashells might play better in the pink I was thinking of doing. So let me know in the comments if you like the idea of the seashell or the hydrangeas better, or maybe we do both, I don't know. So I will see you in the chats on Thursday, and I will see you on my vlog on Friday. And I hope you had a great day today with me, and as always, stay creative. Thanks a lot.